Well, you probably read a lot of articles that come up in your social media feed trying to tell you about the latest and greatest tips to boost your workout. But do they really work? Strength coach and fitness writer Lee Boyce joins me now to debunk some of those myths. And Lee, let's get right to it. And we're going to start with you shouldn't eat before the gym. We hear this all the time. Is that true or false?
Well, it's not necessarily completely true because we have to remember that our body runs on carbohydrates. If we're somebody who likes to train sort of like later on in the morning, for example, we're not just depleted of any sort of nutrients for the first couple hours after we wake up. It's been since the dinner that we had the night before. So it might be good to get some energy sources in there and have a proper amount of fuel for your workout.
All right, so make sure you're having something that's heavy in carbohydrates, give your body that fuel, that power.
Things like a slice of toast or some good quality carbs like oatmeal or even some fruit. That would be a good idea. It doesn't have to be too heavy, but just something to keep you going.
Okay, let's talk about energy drinks next. Do they boost your workout if you have got an energy drink by your side?
So they're going to give you a spike in energy for sure, but the thing is they're also very high in sugar and they don't do anything to hydrate your muscles or hydrate your body. So I think that water is probably the best bet for you in terms of actually having a good healthy drink for yourself.
Because when you've got that drink by your side, what you're trying to do is quench your thirst and keep your body hydrated, not necessarily replenish it with sugars.
Exactly, instead of having a better quality of sugar, like maybe again something like fruit or something like that, on top of the water, it's probably a better way for you to go.
All right, here's a popular one. The longer you spend in the gym, the better results you'll get. Is that true?
So I would actually recommend something like that more so to a very, very advanced lifter who needs to spend a little bit longer time in the gym to get to his strength PRs or whatnot. But for an average beginning client, I would say something like 60 minutes would probably be more than enough time for you to elicit a proper amount of results for yourself.
And should you give yourself like a day off, like day on and then a day off to kind of let your body recover?
For general population people, the first recommendation I like to give is just do the every other day system like you just mentioned. So one day on, take a day to recover, and then keep on doing that. It'll help with consistency as well and staying just nice and even with your training.
Yeah, and if you keep your workouts intense but to a manageable time, say 60 minutes, you're less likely maybe to get burned out?
Absolutely, and that's the number one thing. You just want to last the long haul with this.
All right, next myth, you need to train daily to get those results. So
we have to remember our lifestyle and not just that training is the only source of stress for us. We want to remember that we might have a stressful job, we might have to remember that we have, families to take care of and so on, and for those reasons, it might be a little bit too much to train every single day of the week, and you might burn out too easily. So that is a form of overtraining sometimes, and there are very few people that actually sort of qualify, I'd like to say, for a 7-day-a-week kind of training system. So I'd say 3 to 4 is a good place to start.
All right, let's move on to cardio, and it actually strips your body of muscle. If you do too much cardio, will you actually lose muscle?
So the key point there is too much cardio, and a lot of people aren't really scratching the surface of doing too much cardio, especially if they're balancing it out with weight training and strength training in general. So as long as there's a proper amount of balance, I would say tip the scales a little bit more towards the weights and hit the cardio maybe 2 to 3 times per week for that proper balance, and you're not going to have any sort of muscle loss issues, especially if your diet's on point as well.
On average, how long should my cardio session be?
20 to 30 minutes after a workout that you've done with strength, so you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. That's a good sort of first directive to follow. All right,
and finally, the bigger my muscles, the more strength I have.
So if you think about the fitness competitor world or the bodybuilding world, you know that a lot of the muscles that they develop, they're functional, but at the same time, a lot of it is cosmetic muscle for show. So it doesn't necessarily have the correlation a lot of people think.
Interesting stuff as always. Our fitness expert Lee Boyce with us today. Lee, great to see you. Thanks for coming by.
Good to see you. Thanks.